Good morning, everyone. We are here to report the Article 17 amendments or revision. Scope and limitation. This presentation will focus on Article 17 of the 1987 Philippines Constitution about the amendments or revision, including the four sections of the article. So, amendment and revision. Amendment is broadly refers to a change that adds, reduced, or deletes without altering the basic principles involved, while the revision implies a change that alters the basic principles in the Constitution, like altering the principle of separation of powers or the system of check and balance. Section 1. Any amendment to or revision of this Constitution may be proposed by the Congress upon a vote of 3/4 of all its members, or a constitutional convention. The Congress, as acting as the Constituent Assembly proudly called as CONAS. This powers to amend the Constitution or to propose amendment is not included in the general grant of legislative power to Congress. It is a part of the inherent rights of the people. Congress may propose amendments to the Constitution because the Constitution may explicitly grant that power, while the Constitutional Convention, are also called as CONCONs, is the members of this Constitutional Convention, not the member of the Congress, may propose the amendments or the revision. Congress or a Constitutional Convention can propose both amendments or revision to the Constitution. A revision through people's initiative is not allowed. Section 2. Amendment to this Constitution may likewise be directly proposed by the people through initiative upon a petition of at least 12% of the number of the registered voters, of which every legislative district must be represented by at least 3% centum of the registered voter therein. No amendment under this section shall be authorized within 5 years following the ratification of this Constitution, through oftener that once every 5 years thereafter. The Congress shall provide for the implementation of the existence of this right. So, validity of amendment and revision. Any amendment or revision of shall be valid only when ratified by the majority of the votes cast in a plebiscite. In other words, the proposed amendment or revision that come out of the CONAS, CONCONs, or people initiative, as by the case may be, must be ratified by the people through plebiscite. This is easily done through a special election, although this is not required under the Constitution.
Section 3 of Article 18 says the Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of all its members, call a constitutional convention, or by a majority vote of all its members, submit to the electorate the question of calling such a convention. Methods by which a constitutional convention may be called. A constitutional convention may be called for the purpose of an amendment to or revision of the Constitution in two ways, namely, Congress by 2/3 vote of all its members may call a constitutional convention, or Congress by a majority vote of all its members, in case neither the 3/4 nor 2/3 vote can be mustered, may toss the question to call a constitutional convention to the electorate in an election. The question shall be decided by the majority of votes cast in the corresponding plebiscite. There was no provision in the 1935 Constitution regarding this alternative, submitting to the electorate the question of calling such a convention. A constitutional convention is a body assembled for the express purpose of framing a constitution or revising the existing constitution or formulating amendments to it for the approval of the electorate. Being the direct representative of the people vested with the authority to draft the fundamental law of the state, its members have to be elected by the qualified voters. a constitution drafted by an appointive constitutional commission. The present constitution was drafted by a commission created under Article 5 of the Provisional Constitution promulgated under Proclamation Number 3 issued by the President on March 25, 1986. Its members was appointed by the President pursuant to the Proclamation Number 9 issued on April 23, 1986, the law governing the Constitutional Commission of 1986. The Provisional Constitution abolished the Batasang Pambansa, the then legislative body, and vested in the President as head of the revolutionary government full legislative powers.
Section 4. Any amendment to or revision of this Constitution under Section 1 hereof shall be valid when ratified by a majority of the votes cast in a plebiscite, which shall be held not earlier than days nor later than 90 days after the approval of such amendment or revision. Any amendment under Section 2 hereof shall be valid when ratified by a majority of the vote cast in a plebiscite, which shall be held not earlier than 60 days nor later than 90 days after the certification by the Commission on Elections of the sufficiency of the petition. Ratification by the people. Ratification by the people. Ratification. It means the direct approval by the people of the amendment to or revision of the Constitution. It is the final act to make any change in the Constitution valid as part thereof. This part of power of ratification upholds the principle that sovereignty resides in the people. Next, need for ratification. In order that the amendment or revision proposed by Congress or by a constitutional convention or by the people through initiative may be valid as part of the Constitution, the same must be ratified by a majority of the votes cast in a plebiscite called for the purpose. Next, holding of plebiscite. The plebiscite must be held not earlier than 60 days nor later than 90 days after the approval of such amendment or revision or certification of the Commission on Elections of the sufficiency of the petition as the case may be.